Hour being 9 o'clock, we'll call the June 3rd, 2025 Weston County Commissioner meeting to order. Before we get into county business, would anybody care to do an invocation?
Heavenly Father, we come before you as a Board of Commissioners this morning, recognizing your guidance in Ephesians 3:12, which is encouraging us to approach you with freedom and confidence. We ask you to do that at our meeting today. Help us to be fair in all ways. In Jesus' name, amen.
Becky, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a agenda for you. Additions or changes to today's agenda?
Michael wanted me to remove the MOU with the Joint Powers Board, and then I need to add the conflict of interest form under old business.
We'll just replace it with that.
Sure.
Yes, Ms. Burton.
Mine was the conflict of interest too, but could we put the MOU back on to the next meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the next meeting, I think we need to, I had a court security meeting this last week. I think we need to have an executive session at the next meeting for that. So, if you wouldn't mind adding that. Any other changes or additions to the agenda?
Move to approve the changes amended.
Second.
Properly seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Vouchers, fun stuff. Public comment. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Weston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Stanley Jasinski, taxpayer and landowner. I just wanted to briefly take a minute in public comment today to, I was away from the 14th and 28th of May to deal with a family tragedy. While I was away, I was made aware of the governor's report concerning our verified complaint, and I had to put family first, rightly so I never read anything. I still haven't read any newspaper articles, but yesterday I was able to read the governor's response to our verified complaint. And by our, I mean the 9 people that filed the complaint with the governor's office. And I just wanted to say briefly today, because it's already 4:30. So we're way past due, but I wanted to say that how that complaint came together was, and what the one thing I want to touch on today as far as the government report is he repeatedly talked about overturning the will of the electorate, and I take exception to that. The way that complaint came about was following the election in 2024, the general election. The Republican Party held a public forum, invited the members of the public there, and the Central Committee was there also. And after listening to people respond to what happened in the general election, and voicing their concerns and their complaints about election integrity evolving around that, I was the one that made the motion that night to file a letter with the governor's office of no confidence in our county clerk. And that was seconded, and it was voted unanimously that night, and we allowed the public to vote that night because it was a public forum, except for 2 members of, at that time, Board of County Commissioners, Don Taylor in the vote. That was the election. The Republican Party for Weston County is the majority party of the county, and we represent the majority of the people of the county. And also there that night were precinct committee men and women who represent their individual districts or precincts, and they were representing their people. So that night, the will of the people spoke. That was the electorate. I'm also involved in a lot of other things besides the Republican Party, and I speak to a lot of members out in the public, and I was going on what they said. So I made the motion. A letter of no confidence was sent. The governor said that's not a verified complaint, and in this case we filed an actual verified complaint with the governor's office. And in that complaint you have to have a charge. And as you know, our charge was malfeasance and misconduct. As a result of that, I became the negotiator for the 8 people that had signed the complaint with the governor's office. We had worked out details to testify before the governor. We were only allowed 2 people out of 8 to testify, to represent the whole 8. Other people sent their own testimonies. I testified before the governor when he came here to Newcastle. Myself and another person, it's up to them to speak for themselves, but we're allowed in 90 minutes. The governor's counsel extended that twice for us without even being asked. 15 minutes and 15 minutes, so we testified for a total of 2 hours. In that 2 hours, I gave my oral testimony. Following that testimony, I supported my testimony with 77 pages of documentation supporting my testimony. And I sent it to the governor's office, which in my opinion, he did not address any of it. I was not notified personally from the governor's office, ever, and as it is his response. And I also testified that open forum, public forum was on November 12th. The following morning, I testified before the board, and in this latest legislature, I testified before the Senate Corporations Committee when they were dealing with the hand counting and machines bill. And those, I testified to what I experienced. And my response in each of those situations was totally different than Governor Gordon's response, from senators to other people. And so, again, I don't want to take, I know this is public forum, and I do want to address, I believe, the governor's response, which is very detailed, should be addressed and rebutted in a comprehensive way. And so I'm asking today to be put on the agenda in 2 weeks, so I can have time to respond in a more detailed way, his report. And I think it needs to, this is involves election integrity, and regardless of what he says, the people in the community are very upset about the election integrity within this county. And, so it was addressed in the papers, it was addressed by the governor, and I'm asking to be put on the agenda for 2 weeks so I can rebut.
Thanks, Tim.
Perhaps 1 or 2 other people.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so will that be put on the agenda now?
I think we can talk about that at some juncture. That's not appropriate for public comment, so.
Oh, okay, but just,
And I understand you're upset and
well,
that, you know, some of those precinct committee people aren't elected by the public, so, I mean, the governor went through his roles, and I'm not in any place, nor is this board, to get in the middle of that, but we'll talk about, if you want to have a section next week designated for a time frame for you to potentially address some of your concerns. Or you can stick around for the next public comment that's later today.
yeah, no, I would want to be put on the agenda. I've seen people ask to be put on the agenda during these meetings, and I've seen people ask if they'd like to be put on the agenda.
And I understand that. My only concern is what part of county business is it that we're addressing? You know, I mean, I know there's some of the members of the public that are upset, but at this juncture, you know, are we just wandering through the weeds, or are we solving a problem?
I don't think we're wandering through the weeds, and one of the governor's comments, he tried to imply that this was a personality thing, and it's not. It's a principle thing, not a personality thing. And the precinct committeemen, as far as I know, are elected and women.
Not all of them, but
Some of them,
some of them are appointed by the board, the precinct committee people.
I've been a secretary for over 2 years, and that's never happened.
I know, I'm just saying you weren't elected by the general populace.
Oh, that's true.
So, I mean, I'm not saying you don't represent the board, I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, I've never seen any precinct committee members, except for this past election, where some got write-in votes, got elected by write-in votes, 4 or 6 write-in votes.
Yeah.
Prior to that, when I first came on the scene with the Republican Party, there was vacancies, and I asked to be appointed, and they said, no, it's better that you get elected. So in my term with the Republican Party I've never seen anybody be appointed to a precinct committee man or woman's position. So I think election integrity affects everybody. So
Thanks, Stanley.
thank you.
Minutes of May 20th, 2025. Yes, Mr.
Page 2, I just would like to have, it starts on page 1, but liquor license renewal transfer. On page 2, it starts with Pizza Barn. And I would just like, in parentheses, for it to say something to the effect to differentiate from Pizza Barn LLC. Just like, parentheses, maybe not the transfer, just for future.
So right before it says license renewals, so it's the renewal for the Pizza Barn, the transfer has to do with that.
I know, but when I read it, if you were to read it as a layperson, the understanding that Pizza Barn and Pizza Barn LLC, you've kind of read it. I just would like clarification for later on, that it's not the transfer Pizza Barn.
This place is full of love. You can tell the people that like to be with old people because they really take care of you good and are very kind.
Twice a day, every day, activities people have an organized activity that's always interesting.
Everybody loves to play bingo. We play it 3 times a week here. We also have ceramics that you can paint. Really pleasant to live here. It's a good place to be.
I know, but when I read it, if you were to read it as a layperson, the understanding that Pizza Barn and Pizza Barn LLC, you've kind of read it. I just would like clarification for later on that it's not the transfer Pizza Barn.
So I have Vice Chairman move to approve the 2025 liquor license renewals for Pizza Barn, Upton Golf Course, VFW, Fountain Inn, Buckhorn Bar and Grill, Flying Bee Camry, and Weston Bar and Grill. Those are the renewals.
Right, so I'm just asking for clarification because prior to that, you write Pizza Barn to Pizza Barn LLC. So I would like clarification for the record, please. I understand it's a transfers. I just want the clarification for future boards. If you all read it that way, that's fine. We don't have to approve. I'm just asking for a change. A lot of people don't go back. I go back.
I read it last night. It didn't really confuse me, but I knew what I was reading. So,
Yeah.
if we were to move the two table, the transfer from the Pizza Barn to Pizza Barn LLC, so you're asking for clarification to the general public of these are two different entities or not? Could we just put in which is two Pizza Barn LLC, which is a separate entity?
Anything to clarify that there's a difference between the Pizza Barn and Pizza Barn LLC, even though we have LLC on I mean, we go through that all the time.
I get it. It can be confusing. I don't have any problem with it.
And I'm sure this one's already been caught, but the apology after appointed attorneys.
That would be, on that says from the Pizza Barn to new owners, Pizza Barn LLC.
Whatever,
But them two new owners, that would specify that it's existing to the new.
To a second.
or new licensee, Pizza Barn, anything that would differentiate. Because LLC seems like it would do the trick, but doesn't always do the trick.
Not for the general public.
Right, I mean, we know what we went through.
You want to do that then, just new owners, the Barn LLC. Is that okay with everyone?
That way it designates, it's definitely it's a
It's
total
different.
business transfer.
Do we have anything else on
I got one more.
the minute?
Under contract with search and rescue / fair, I just would like to, on the second sentence, with the building at the fairgrounds, I'd like to just designate that as the youth exhibit hall, or formerly known as, just so people know.
Anybody have anything else?
I got one more.
Okay.
Sorry. Under commissioner comment, second sentence, testifying on behalf of the associations. I think various county associations should be in front of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 20th, 2025 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Probably second. Any discussion?
Thank you.
No, I think you're on. I mean, I understand those minutes when I read it, but 10 years from now, it certainly could be a different idea. So, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Marty and I can sign them. Or split them up, I don't know.
I'll sign them on the way back.
And go.
Lost on the way back.
Go.
On your
I
case,
think I
get
might have
back.
even sent the collections too,
You sent me the collections.
and the payrolls.
Payroll and voucher collections. So we're on payroll and vouchers.
Yeah.
Move to approve. Payroll and vouchers.
Second.
A motion to approve payroll and vouchers. Is there, yeah, second, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
For clarification, what is the difference between these vouchers and AP vouchers?
these are payroll, like there are Blue Cross Blue Shields, are
Gotcha.
Aflac,
All right,
various things.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. These are the big ones. They're
These are huge.
Bet.
enormous.
I'll bet. I mean, you've got at least 3 employees here.
And the time that we debate some of this is when we buy insurance.
Oh, I remember some of those discussions. They can be huge. Plus, I used to work in insurance, so, oh, God, never again.
Oops, oops. Health insurance alone, that's $90,000.
That's not surprising. That's for 1 month? Yeah. That's really not that surprising to me. It's not exactly good, but what do you do?
We debate, that's why we have those conversations when they come in, and
I know.
that's why we authorize our clerk to go shopping around.
I hope some competitive spirit arises in that industry soon.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the collections for the Weston County Public Health in the amount of $220. The collection from the Weston County Clerk for $10,474.20. For the Clerk of District Court, total for $1,414.10 plus a coin-to-point fees of $75.
last one, right?
Well, it says total earnings, $1,414.10, and then it says court.
Plus 75,
Yeah,
so sounds right, let's make sure.
so we must have collected some appointed fees, court appointed fees.
That's a,
I mean, we have 99.9% still out there.
Yeah, we got a long ways to go. It didn't say.
Is there a second on Marty's motion to approve the collection for county clerk, district
Second.
court, and public health? Thank you, Vera. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, guys. And gals. Chairman's signature on commercial application for the membership of the electric service agreement and easement and right-of-way agreement with Powder River Energy Corp. Yeah, she's good.
This is the one that we saw before, that we had a question on the amount being paid. But that was paid out of the grant. Michael looked this over.
Yes, sir.
I believe that the request for the easement and those funds were sent in the same paperwork. Is that correct?
It is, that's all in there.
That was together. So the question of the funding, hoping that was incorporated with the original grant, which it is, the easement, the chairman's signature for the easement, which was still needed on that. I think we pushed it because we got to talk to Tim on the phone and verify that it was part of that grant, and so we moved it over.
And this will also need to be signed by the city of Newcastle, and then once it's signed by them, they will send it with a check, and then Powder River will sign it.
I think everybody probably remembers the conversations last night over this. This is basically bringing power across the road over to the new facilities being constructed at the airport. The right of way and costs associated with that infrastructure being paid through there.
I would move to authorize chairman's signature on the commercial application for membership and electric service with Powder River Energy, the new project out at the airport.
Second.
Chairman, I'll recuse myself from the vote.
Thank you, Gary. It's been properly seconded for the chairman's signature on the commercial app for membership electric service agreement and the right-of-way.
That's my question.
Sorry.
That was my question, if the
Yeah.
easement was included in that.
Okay. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let me get caught up on some signatures here.
The new store, This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy, we have a bootlegger's liquor, the deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop, certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
This is the agreement. Don't even do that. There's just two copies of the agreement, and that was different. And the cops. Today, Wyoming by electrical. One more. This one. The easement agreement. Ties. Good. Wait a few minutes for a bid opening for contract gravel hauling for 2025. A 3-minute restroom break. Get a chance to go. Coffee break. Or pen.
Thinking about it is worth it.
This chair has a tendency to attack. So I'm kind of like,
You got a letter opener?
Do not open
You have a letter opener. I can give my knife for you.
no, don't use that knife. The logo.
Because of this, it really comes out off of it. This is like,
It's just crawl over the table. Easy away.
this thing's oh, whorehounds. The best thing there. Thank you. You too.
Little bit of the same.
But then they got rid of all of them.
Yeah.
This
I think it's deadly.
Yeah, this is my letter opener.
Is it sharp, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be under sale.
Retirements.
I did call and talk to my contact at Urban.
Okay, because that paper's coming in soon, so we'll be an actual entity. So, hopefully.
Well, I talked to them in regards to.
We need to get together with you guys then.
We have a meeting.
Okay.
When?
At 1.
I won't be able to.
Okay.
Tuesdays are like good, Wednesdays are not good.
Okay.
You normally run, you only try to run like 6, don't you?
There, where you want to. You can keep track, or take it.
Maybe I don't want it. My writing
That's
ain't
a
that good.
calendar there and mark it.
Yeah, you guys got good handwriting, that's good.
What do we do?
Oh, it's just a tabulation of, I think there's 10 or 11 leads.
Well,
Oh, look at it, there, it stopped right there, that's so cool.
You know what you're doing, I don't,
I don't even know where I am, so go ahead.
Alright,
Okay, what are we doing?
we are opening 12 bids for contract gravel hauling for 2025.
12,
12 of them, starting with 777 Trucking LLC.
triple,
I pre-shuffled these, so I'm not doing them in any
7,
order.
trucking,
Yes, ma'am.
L,
LLC.
that's only because it's the
So
first
this
one.
one might be a little faster. So I can get in there. 777 Trucking, number of trucks, 150.
Proof of insurance,
Not on there.
not on there.
No. All they did was put the.
I'm looking, wish I still had trucks.
I don't know about, I think I want to move.
Set up some time, but it's gonna take a little while. This is TK Freight LLC. TK. Got proof of insurance with them. And rated $150 an hour, one truck. Next is Iron Creek Services LLC. Liability insurance. Four to five trucks. $150. James Bow Services. Number of trucks, 1. Hourly rate, $125. Certificate of liability insurance. West Side Services LLC. Two trucks, $140 hourly rate and certificate of liability,
Give me the bid again, please.
$140. So that's, yep.
Thank you.
Kenny, KENNYK Trucking LLC. One truck, $135 an hour and liability. Next one is Farnsworth Services Company Incorporated. 4 trucks. $165 per hour. No insurance. So this is Wade Reagan Trucking.
Oh,
Double sealed it. Two trucks, $150 per hour, and liability. This one doesn't have a name on the outside. Timberline Services Incorporated, 3 trucks, $145 an hour, and yes, they have insurance.
Got it. Thank you.
Haynes Trucking, Bill Haynes. 1 truck, $135 an hour, and liability.
Should it go?
Jeff Regan. Is it Reagan or Regan?
Reagan.
Reagan. 4 trucks, $150 an hour with a certificate of liability. And last is 3 Fingers Ranch. 1 truck, $150 with certificate of liability. So, do we,
Summary on these?
yeah, sure.
777 Trucking LLC, no insurance, $150 per hour. TK Freight LLC, yes to the insurance, $150 per hour. Iron Creek Services LLC, yes to the insurance, $150 an hour. James Bow Services, proof of insurance, yes, $125 an hour. Westside Services LLC, proof of insurance, yes, $140 an hour. Kenny K Trucking LLC, yes, $135 an hour. Farnsworth Services Company Incorporated, proof of insurance, no, $165 an hour. Proof of insurance, yes, $150 an hour. Timberline Services, proof of insurance, yes, $145 an hour. Haynes Trucking, proof of insurance, yes, $135 an hour. Jeff Reagan Trucking, proof of insurance, yes, hourly rate $150. And 3 Fingers Ranch, proof of insurance, yes, $150 an hour. So, Mr. Chairman, you have 2 that do not have proof of insurance. Farnsworth Services Company Incorporated and 777 Trucking.
I think both of them are on file with us.
Next question. Are we gonna allot this to one outfit at maybe bid low, or do we try to establish a price based off of the generality of it so that you get the trucks you need? I understand. My only concern with this is by putting it out for bid, did we set, would it be Timberline that had the most trucks at the cheapest rate, or one of the cheaper rates? Take one guy with the cheapest rate and potentially get nobody to haul for that rate. But yeah.
So So, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
you do have one that is the least expensive, only has one truck. The ones with the most trucks, the cheaper one is Timberline, but you have a couple of them with 4 and one with 4 to 5. So it's a good question.
How many trucks would you need?
That's part of the problem. We got blades sitting out there waiting on trucks.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a whole lot of people in jails and prisons in Wyoming who really didn't mean to do anything wrong, but they screwed up and they did. But apparently Becky Hadlock and other elected officials in Wyoming are in fact above the law. At least that's what I think the governor showed us with his decision.
And I think he did too. And I think he makes it blatant by avoiding the clear violation of the law. The rest of it, you can, yeah, she got the testing done. It was at the last minute, at the last chance, and she failed it. But she did submit the report on the day, even though it was like 11:59 or whatever. You know, like
Right.
There's some ways you could finagle the other things. But he blatantly ignores the malicious intent and the felony committed.
And he jumps through so many hoops to let her off. Let's
That's part of the problem. We got blades sitting out there waiting on
Yes,
trucks.
absolutely.
So we could, $150 an hour, another, we'd have 8, which would amount to 150. Under, we'd have 12. We took all of them, we'd have 16 trucks.
Would we, say, could we hire, from the ones that are 150 all the way down to 125?
That would give us 8.
That'd give you 8 trucks.
And let them pay them on the rate that they do.
Whatever.
Or you have to establish a, yeah,
That's a roll.
Yeah, 'cause I think if I bid your 125 and I only got one truck and give the tires, I ain't gonna do this 125, go park my truck. But you could offer it to them at that higher rate if they wanna haul. I don't think we'd get in any trouble there, would we? Basically paying those guys a premium for what they did, so.
Mr. Chairman?
yes, but
Then I guess my key is what you put a bid out for.
yeah, I mean, if they did 125 and they want to haul it, if they're willing to haul it at that rate.
But you do have a dilemma. He's got, that business lists one truck. We may be here all summer if nobody else wants to join up for 120.
So that's why I'm wondering, do we accept a certain rate and go down from there? That was their bid, that's what they hauled for. And if they don't want to haul for it, and I assume they're okay hauling at that price when they put in the bid. If I'm not hiring 10 trucks, I'm certainly gonna hire the lowest I can, and up to a certain threshold of whatever meets whatever I can afford. I mean, I know it kind of leaves those guys out a little bit, but it's part of bidding a job.
I don't know, like, if you bid something exception, there's a low price, you get the drop,
Was there like a certain tonnage they have to haul to fit in here?
I didn't put, the area code, because a lot of the guys that want to bid only have one truck.
Well, I mean,
didn't know.
per load.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the 24-time load.
Okay.
Just a curiosity question here. Are any of these that bid out of this county? I mean, out of the county?
I know one of them is for sure.
Yeah, because wouldn't that also add to the hourly? How many hours would be involved?
Not necessarily. A lot of this gravel would be coming on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Usually you pay from pit to,
Yeah, I mean, we're not.
you don't start when they leave home, you start when they get their first load on.
Okay.
So So I guess my question is, if we set the rate at 150, which would get us, if everybody was willing to work at whatever they bid up to that 150 mark, how many trucks would that get us? 8. And I guess if they're not wanting to, if they're upset that they didn't bid it.
Sorry, I misspoke, that was 12.
12.
Everything 150.
I mean, if the guy that bid 125 doesn't want to haul, then I guess, I mean, I don't know.
Just so the public knows, I'm using my calculator.
Yeah.
Chairman, how far is the running, Jim?
Well, it'll kind of depend, the guys from Newcastle, I was gonna have them get their first load out here, and then call us on the rest of the day. Because it'll cut about 20 miles round trip off my Buffalo Creek. They've got quite a bit of them back to, from here, Buffalo Creek is pretty close to 60 miles from the center there.
So 12 trucks wouldn't be too many for that.
No, I don't think so. And something else you could do, I don't know, take everybody 150 and under and average out, the trucks, all that rate, and average that out, I mean, look at one truck at 125, one at 140, or whatever we put an average rate out of that.
And offer it back to them.
Yeah,
if they want to haul for it.
I mean, that way, when you're low bidder, stuck on the bottom.
If you were to take them all and I threw in the 165, because if you're gonna throw in the low, you're gonna throw in the high. I mean, that's,
Problem with the high is whatever the right bid, we don't find.
Well, it's
Go ahead,
low.
sorry.
or drop the low and the high.
Yeah, you have to do it.
I mean, in order to be fair, you've gotta conclude both. That would leave it at 145 and some change.
I just offer that to everybody. Without an offer of this is kind of what we were concluding is would be an average of what was bid.
We don't have an actual contract for them to sign, like doing, like, that's our bid, yeah.
How many were at 150 if we lose them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them.
We got 4 of them above 150, 12 at 150.
So for a 145 and they say no, that puts us down to about 6.
Still have 8.
We have 8 of them below 150.
You have 8 of them below 150?
8 trucks.
I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 that are 150 or above.
Yeah,
I have
8 that was below
8 below.
150.
Trucks, not company.
Okay.
Which the language of that, if you were to do the averaging, you've got a guaranteed 8 at a 145 price with the option of a 150 or above, agreeing to all that for the 145.
Seems like I'm copacetic to whatever, if we're gonna make it into an average, I'm fine with that. I think it does. I almost wish there was a way to put out the bid though, in a way that if you're going to haul for 125, we'll take you. And if we need more trucks, we keep going up that ladder until we get enough, but just to save some money, but problem is we then are having a blade sitting out there, not turning his wheels. waiting on trucks, so I'm okay with, we wanna do a 145 or 8 and then ask, who was it? There was Iron Creek and Farnsworth were over, and Three Fingers, there was a couple others.
Just one was up at 150.
Oh, okay.
Just one, Farnsworth.
Do you want to set it at 145 or 150? And what's the pleasure of the board, I guess? Jim.
To keep things moving, I would make a motion that we put it out there, we'll offer them 145 an hour for the ones that, for everybody, and offer to them. If they want to come down to 145 an hour, they can. If not, we'll just take the ones we can at 145.
Second, contingent on exposure of insurance for the two.
I guess,
Well,
I,
let me do this. We've got a properly second motion on the floor.
Yep.
Any discussion?
ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So I want to make sure I get this straight. So because there's some that are under 145, shouldn't they be considered first?
Yeah, and I think the issue with that is they only have one truck. Most of those guys that are quite low, which would not work at all for,
But you don't normally hire more than one company, you just,
In the past, that, you know, we've taken care of it. There's times we've had 16 trucks. And I don't think very few times in the major turn around
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think if we put that price out there, it's to contact and say, yeah. Because it's really just a contract, you know, it's just
It should have been an RFP instead of a bid.
it should have been an RFP.
yeah.
It would have been better with it as an RFP.
That's good.
Because we didn't, would that put us in any jeopardy for,
No.
It's just that, you know, we're exceeding 75,000.
Yeah.
Right now, county trucks, we're probably exceeding.
okay. All right, any other discussion? So the motion on the floor is to offer, was it 145? Offer $145 an hour to all interested parties contingent on, their insurance, being active for insurance. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Your turn, Jim, if you got something.
First, the news room, get contact us with that, the first meeting we made. He went out there to take a look at that road, and I told him, what we were looking at probably doing was basically total reconstruction on it, total replacing the established Dr. Road there. Road center, and people have gone to a pre-surface. So they did a similar job on the other side of the state last year. And that ended up coming in between $800,000 and $900,000 a mile. Yes. And, you know, on a project like that, his bill alone would be $400,000. So I told him before we go to step 2, let's up with you guys. I mean, even with the grant, you hard match, probably be close to $3 million.
Oh, we just have time to pick up our jaws off of the table.
How many total miles? Degrees?
And the highway to the police station is 10.2. I went out to the GPS, there's 5.5 miles on it, that meter gravel for sure.
How many?
5.5. There's cheaper ways of improving the road. so.
Yeah, I hope so. Go ahead.
I think Jim needs to get creative on how we can get that road taken care of at a somewhat more reasonable cost than that.
You know, the very least that has to be pulled in to consistent. I mean, we can't keep throwing gravel on fill line road. And I was out there 2 weeks ago, Monday, when it rained all day, and there's half a dozen spots on there that probably should be gravelled. And we decided to do something with it or not.
Would you have enough crew to do it yourself, or do you have to hire some contractors to help
As far as,
with just pulling the narrow back up?
we can do it, I mean, it's a pretty good project, we're going on to the road.
Well, I don't want you to put short the rest of the county
Yeah,
off
you know, I'm not sure.
to do that.
Yeah, we certainly that's something you can do. I would probably have to look at some outside help as far as hauling water on the clean water. And there's probably 3 places that we could do some ditch work on it. It's very basic.
Are there certain sections that are just going to be gone at some point?
We're close on some of them.
So technically, they will have to be rebuilt. End of subject, that's the way it is, because they're going.
Resurface at the very least.
But for longevity of it, rebuilding it would be the more appropriate thing to do.
As far as actually cleaning the ditch, just a couple spots, but the rest of it is basically just cleaning up and making it consistent with the road surface.
Mr. Chairman, my dilemma here is that we're gonna run out of box of Band-Aids. And at some point, where do we go that we fix it for not necessarily perpetuity as a road, it's gonna take forever. It won't last forever, but the Band-Aid approach we've tried it, and I'm not saying that as a Band-Aid, you know what I'm saying. The Band-Aid approach we've tried it, and I'm not saying that as a Band-Aid, you know what I'm saying. Is 2 years gonna be down to where it was before? That's the face I didn't wanna see, but I saw it. So is there an ability for you to get whatever stretches those are, so maybe we have a mile here and a mile there. That if we could get down to the point of rebuilding that stretch, that we could do it with less. And I know that we're going to be then offsetting the other pieces, but I'm trying to pull this out to last, that we can fix it, so it doesn't last. Is there a way to engineer a mile or two that we could get?
Yeah, we need to break it up, I'm sure we could.
I know you couldn't with industrial funds, I remember that, you had to do the whole kit and caboodle, I get that. I'm just trying to find a way here, and I'm relying on your expertise, but I just like to see, because some of that I'm with you, it's gonna be cool. And I know that I'm putting it back on the back burner again, but I'm afraid of the Band-Aid approach.
I think we do that, there's probably a few spots on that road, I think, probably get some kind of, we're gonna have to, some of the spots that, there's probably some traffic on the road, and something.
Man, I know what you're doing, Jim, but you're good at it, but starting on the worst sections, I can't imagine it. 10.2 miles that the whole road needs to be completely redone, I mean, base and all. It would obviously, we'd end up with an amazing road, but, you know, the worst sections that we can focus in on, whether they need to be graded or whatever, and that's your expertise, but working on the worst and working out. Some of those ridges and stuff seem like they hold off pretty good, because the water's running from decent, but the lows are sinking out.
If you could build us a plan of what sections to do, and then we'll find the money to do those sections. And then knowing that in the next year, knowing what our revenues are for that, we perhaps could put a portion of those so we know that goes towards, you know, the extension out of that. But somewhere we have to start a plan. We either jump into this river full bore and go below 8, and I don't mean below. Go spend $8 million, go see somebody to help us. We don't have $8 million. We have to go, somebody's gonna have to help us. State of Wyoming's gonna have to help us. I'm not sure we won't get laughed out of the room. But if we would go with an idea that we can try to piece this together with what we can afford to piece it together with, maybe we can. And if we show that we have invested 2 or 3 spots that did cost us the $800,000, we may have a better chance of stepping into a room and into the slip or whatever and saying, this is what we have invested in this. Can you help us further along? And we will complete this project. Because that's the big road. That's just my thoughts, Mr. Chairman. At some point we gotta jump in.
Well, I agree. I think that if Jimmy can formulate a plan on X, Y, and Z spot on that road, and we focus on it, and if we have a list, like, this is our goal to accomplish on this road, and then we approach the slip board with that, saying, this is what we're working towards. Unfortunately, we're short on getting the rest of it done, and they would at least see that the project has been being addressed, and we have a future goal in mind. Might help.
Well, Mr. Chairman, a lot of times when you go to the slip, they may not grant you everything, but if you're there, sometimes they do have a chance, if there's something left over or somebody didn't come around, if you are there to speak your case, a lot of times they will. Like they said, we can't afford all of this either, but we can help you in your goal. And I think that would be appropriate to do.
Yeah, if we could get this like a 3-year plan or something where we can kind of space it out, but then in the meantime, what we don't fix is going to deteriorate worse. So, and what was that engineer's estimate per mile?
He said between 800 and 900,000 per mile.
How much?
800 to 900,000.
Between 800 and 900,000.
I know one of the reasons Upton's done so well with their water and sewer infrastructure in that town is because they had a designated plan set out, and they got a lot of help going from the top to the bottom. Of course, Lindstrom helped a lot with that too, being down there, but they had a goal in mind, an end goal to solve the problems in that town with their water and sewer, and it really, I think, spoke volumes when they showed up with a plan. And I don't know if our plan is to attack, like Gary said, the bottoms where they're the worst or what, but I don't know. I lean on Jim, I guess, for that. If there's any idea of how to start the process and what we can afford in the meantime.
But what's our alternative? What do we do? Do we let it deteriorate to the point of no return? And then we do go find somewhere? I mean, I'm not sure if anybody has, if any of you all want to write a check. I think you already do, but you want to additionally, we're not going to, it wouldn't matter with our 20, you know, our 7,000 people if they all, we're still wouldn't have enough. I think that's the only thing you're looking at.
if you started, is there an end that's worse than, I mean, is there?
Sections, so
Is
I
it-
say what really, and then there's another piece, you get a close contact section.
I guess I don't personally mind bottlenecking them a little bit. I mean, when you're talking, you're dealing with a third more road than necessary. I mean, sorry folks, it's all gonna be this way someday.
That's all the problem with our gravel, the dash on it over the years. Dash is gone.
Yeah.
And it may also change traffic. Those that could use an alternate route would use the alternate route,
Possible.
which is,
Well, they're over there already are.
we'll get to that. So, I mean, they're either used to it and they'll go the other way while we fix it, on portions of it.
You know, maybe some additional signage on the road Maryland or something like that, I don't know. Maybe the road goes past change.
So, spitballing here, maybe after, I know we need to have budget talks, but after one of these future meetings, maybe we take a trip out there and look at it, and then we can try to formulate a plan. If they'd be okay with that.
I'm not driving.
Okay. Yeah,
I can't emphasize how important it is to not just show up at the SLID meeting, but somebody on the commission go to the state exec's offices with the plan and have private conversations, show them the plan, answer any questions about the plan. Don't just present the plan at the SLID meeting. You want them to go into that SLID meeting already aware of of Weston County's plan and what the intention is, so they already have that information and, are probably ready to make a decision. Having those personal, private conversations with the state execs that are on the SLID board is essential. And that's kind of how Upton has been successful as developing those relationships prior to the SLID meeting.
thanks, Nick. Yeah.
I'm gonna second what he said because when I was mayor, we did have Greg Stump work with Mark quite a bit, and we have been getting approved every single time that he's been doing that.
Cool.
And he's worked a lot with Mark, so maybe get with Mark and kind of get a good idea of how, because he was such an insight to Greg Stump that it really made a huge difference on our city side.
Yeah.
Showing up in Cheyenne, it's everything.
Thank you. Well, what else you got, Dan?
Well, I did have a meeting on the pickup system, and quotes, it's around $11,000 to have a new one installed. Around $7,500 over at Union. It's got 230,000 miles on it. Twice, I've never been in it. The body's been on it, the carrier's still on it.
Good, Gary.
How's the suspension and transmission?
Garrett thought, there's some of that stuff over the problem, but, it's rates back up, we have a brand new, you probably put over about 5,000 miles on it, so I'm sure it's in good shape.
Some new repair money for it.
That'd be good enough. So, anything else you can? Thank you. Sorry,
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Headaches. Yep. All right, sorry, we're a little behind. Liquor license transfer. Hi. So, the floor.
Okay, so before you guys get into your discussion with the transfer and transferee, I did talk to Jason just to kind of get my head around things before today. And talking it through, I still have not gotten my renewal that would start in July. So there's an issue with that. You have to have 30 days, it has to be approved 30 days before the new term. We're already past that. So that renew is not gonna happen. Lucky enough, we did Pam's renewal and approved it in the one meeting. So Pam is good for July. But this transfer now, we don't wanna do the transfer, because if we do the transfer now, it's gonna null and void Pam's renewal. So we wanna hold off on that. I do want you to have a discussion with them now, since they were already coming, to kind of get it ironed out now, and then reapply for that transfer July, August, or whenever. And then the renewal after, no, they'll just do the transfer in July or August or whatever. So hopefully it makes sense that it's too late to do the renewal now. And so we don't want to do the transfer yet. I mean, it's completely up to you guys. But I'm just saying, if we do the transfer now, there is not enough time for the July renewal. And then that liquor license is open to anybody. If we do the transfer now. Because the transfer only goes until June 30th. What, I've emailed the lawyer twice with the renewal paperwork. Oh, yeah. Yep. And if you do this suggestion, I would need a written document saying you're withdrawing the transfer. If you're gonna withdraw the transfer now. And then do it at a later date, just so you know.
Wait a month.
Yeah.
Until after the renewal.
Yes, yep. Because Pam's is good for July, for all of next year. But if we do this transfer, that only lasts until June 30th. Then the one in July is open to anybody, because I don't have the renewal for Pizza Barn LLC.
Well, it would make sense to, have you do a written withdrawal on the transfer, so we don't jeopardize losing that license, because the transfer, the renewal is already good, so then after the renewal goes into effect July 1st, then reapply for the transfer. That way you don't jeopardize losing the license. Does that make sense? So.
Do you have any issue with that, Pam, carrying it for, I guess, does that affect?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Because she's still the legal owner of the property. So when they do the transfer and everything, she has to do the lease agreement anyways. Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Because she's still the legal owner of the property. So when they do the transfer and everything, she has to do the lease agreement anyways, giving them permission to sell on her property. So she still has to be involved with it no matter what.
Yes, Marty.
So do we have to start the whole thing of the advertisement and that all over again?
Yep.
So do we have to have an advertisement saying that the transfer was? Because it's 2 consecutive weeks, so we've got to start that soon.
Well, I can't do it until I get the new transfer, and you don't want to do it until after
then.
July 1st.
Okay.
And I'll ask about the advertising of the withdrawal.
Retraction.
Yeah, with retraction.
So your advice at this juncture is
Doesn't seem-
do absolutely nothing until, other than if she can get a retraction, get that created by her attorney.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I would still have the discussion with him today with whatever, you know, you guys were wanting to talk to him about and stuff. And I still have all the paperwork here if you need to look back at it.
Yeah. Refresh my memory, where were we at with Sandra and Pam on this deal? Like, was there confusion on the,
I think it was the last page of the application.
One was, it said Pizza Barn, it was Pizza Pie LLC, something like that.
Pie Barn LLC, on the last page of just the application, where they have to list out the LLCs that own more than 10% of it.
oh, yeah. There's Mr. Barnes, 66, and then Pie Barn, LLC. And then Sandra. Was it over the license going to,
Being able to be moved from that facility. Another question. Yes, you guys have a question.
And I know nothing about any of these LLCs, so.
Sandra, is Pizza Barn LLC, is that the conglomeration of the three? So your Pizza Barn, whatever, it's not anything of that, okay. So what's happening, I guess, in a nutshell, is, what's the name of your business, ma'am?
Pizza Barn. I'm a
Just
sole
Pi-
proprietor.
Okay, just Pizza Barn. Just wanting to transfer to Pizza Barn LLC, which is a conglomeration of 3 different entities. So, I guess I don't know if any reason they couldn't do that. I don't have any.
I think the confusion that we had was the confusion that the state had, and that Amber had, because she got one that said yes, one that said no, and we were left with this who, what, where, and why.
The wording on there says that members of the LLC have to be listed.
Correct.
And that's what Jason told me.
Right.
That they had to be listed on there. And then one of them are who had to sign. Now, when I talked to Jason yesterday, well, Ian said, no, this was okay. When I talked to Jason yesterday, he said, yes, that is what the wording says. They're trying to get that changed.
It's here.
And they're okay with that. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. You know, they can say they're okay with it and approval, but.
Was there a box, there's also a box that wasn't checked if it was off-site?
Yep, and I got that checked, yep.
That's all taken care of?
Yep, that's all taken care of.
Okay.
The phone number is wrong on that, and I did tell her that this morning. So we're gonna, I mean, when she does the new transfer, that'll have to get fixed.
Well, I think what
Go ahead. Michael, you got something?
No, I just was trying to figure out if there's another member. This is this name agent, residence of each officer, manager, member holding The joint owner said only 10% or more of the outstanding ownership. So,
it's got 60% to one, 10% to the other. So I'm assuming Sandy is the remaining 30%.
Name, address, the whole 9 yards.
There are 3 of us that are part of the pizza barn, but as a corporation, it went into the LLC as owners, so that we all have a separate percentage. It's just like in a corporation that you do. And our attorney said, when he drove all the paperwork, and he said that you can make that, it's a protected thing, so we all are protected of our own entities. So this is what they can only go after. This is, and it's just like Antlers LLC, which will be the same thing. There are several of us in that one, and we have several entities so that we're protected individually. And that's exactly what our attorney drew up. So as far as Pizza Barn LLC itself is one corporation, and that's who's buying. The other partners are like silent partners. I'm the only active partner. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
I do have a question. Who are the members of Big Pizza Barn LLC? The big one.
Who are the members? We are, the ones that are on that paper.
Pie Barn,
Mhm.
Mr. Barnes, and then you individually?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Seems like, I think
yes,
it looks good.
yes.
So is there a reason why the percentage for you just says NA?
Because I don't want anybody to.
Okay.
It's not anybody's
No,
business.
that's fine.
Okay.
Because, I mean, to me, I was just like, well, maybe she isn't a part of it.
No,
So I didn't know.
Yes, we are all owners.
Because like, I've never seen any paperwork
But there's a certain reason.
about.
And our attorney said we didn't have to disclose.
So 8110, and then, so that, as long as it's just a separate corporation, and that corporation has 100% control of it.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, Sam.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Never dealt with it
I understand. It's all good.
Well, I guess in July.
Evidently, I was not aware that some paperwork did not get filed. However, that will be addressed soon as I leave this office.
Okay. Thanks, Amber. Thank you guys for coming in. Sorry for our lack of.
So then we have to do this again in July, is that what you're saying? Or you're approving it, and we just have to come back, because nothing's gonna change.
We're gonna status quo for now, and then you get your retraction letter, for now, to Amber. And then in July, we're gonna have to re-advertise and do another.
So then we won't get it changed over in July, is that what you're saying? Because you have to advertise, or can you start advertising in June if you get your retraction letter today?
No, because the new one doesn't take effect until July 1st. So we don't want to advertise any transfer because we're not into that new year yet. I don't know.
What do you think, Michael?
You're gonna go and call Jason with Santa Ana to double check before she leaves.
Yeah, maybe just Sandra and Amber and Jason could figure it out whenever.
So if it takes a break July 1st, we can start advertising for it.
That's what I thought, but she's wanting to know that you do it sooner.
No, we can start advertising July 3rd and July 10th and discuss it at the July 15th meeting.
So July 15th would be the soonest we could have it transferred over.
Possibly, if all goes okay with Jason.
You can still order.
They can still do business with, under your license.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, you won't hamper running the business. It's just making sure. I don't want to do something here to jeopardize the liquor license and get it tied up, on that.
And that's what I'm worried about, advertising before the new one even takes effect.
Yeah, and getting it tied up and losing it.
Let me ask you this, if we lost it out of Pam's name, and I just reapplied for it just in our name,
So if 5 other people come in, we'd have to decide between 6 who gets it.
You wouldn't be guaranteed to get
So this, if we do it this way.
I'm not so sure we're guaranteed now to get it though.
I think you have it better than
Give it a better
average.
chance.
Okay,
I don't think,
It's a transfer.
yeah, it's a transfer.
to me, that's your guys' business, and just as long as the paperwork's done right in the right time frame.
Okay,
Yeah, because it's just a transfer. It's not going out to the public to be reapplied for. It is just strictly transferring it from Pizza Barn to Pizza Barn LLC.
okay, perfect.
It's just going to be a transfer. It's not going to be a new license, which is.
I would recommend going that route way before going the other route.
Perfect, okay. That's,
Because I think
I'm good with
at this
that.
juncture, I think you're pretty much guaranteed to
Yeah.
transfer.
I'm good with that, whatever it takes. Sure.
There's just a notification.
That way we don't jeopardize it.
Okay, perfect, if you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's right in subsection B here.
Yeah.
So they're right. Because the renewal or transfer can't be any later than 30 days preceding the expiration date of the license.
And when's the expiration date?
June 30th.
And the 2 weeks that it has already been advertised doesn't count towards that.
That was just for the transfer. That wasn't for the renewal. The renewal has to be done 30 days before the.
Count. Okay.
You got anything else, Michael? You think of on that, or?
I think we gotta figure out whether, Marty had a good question about whether we need to notify the withdrawal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I just took the one page.
I think that's something we can figure out pretty quickly and get notice out. It needs to happen. We just need to look at it a little bit.
Amber and Michael get it solved.
Yeah.
And Amber can let you know.
Yeah.
How we're moving forward. So probably a withdrawal letter. to Amber.
Definitely, yes.
So, okay.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Running way longer than I expected. Anything else on that?
Is anything needed on my end?
I don't think so.
We have all the paperwork, everything's there, just a couple corrections on the phone number. I'll have to put in new dates, and it'll be a new license number, because this is just for this one for this year. The transfer now will be for the new year. So a few things will change on there. You know, you don't have to worry about my part, but yeah, it's all gonna be the same stuff that I have right here.
Minus a different attorney.
I'm sorry.
Dan, I'm sorry, we just didn't understand the whole workings of it, so.
That will be
Thank you for
what
coming in.
changes. Hi, honey.
Sorry if we wasted some of your time. Okay, hangar update. Thanks.
Are you doing the hair?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you give me a call? I talked with, Mr. Ziegler. He is he works for Barrasso, and we talked a lot about, hangars for economic development the other day.
Okay. You got something on the hangar, Riley? I hear you're going to law school eventually, huh?
Yeah, we're
Cool.
just in green right now.
Yeah.
All this
Good
stuff.
for you.
Thanks.